But first, I am so happy to welcome an incredible artist to the show whose exhibition, Unite, is going to be here at the Cleve Carney Art Gallery. Faheem Majeed is, simply put, a Renaissance man. In recent history, he has served as executive director and curator for the Southside Community Arts Center, an artist in residence with the University of Chicago's Arts and Public Life Initiative, associate director and faculty member at UIC's School of Art and Art History, solo exhibitionist at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago, and founder and director of the famous Floating Museum. Now we are pleased to say he is here at the MAC. Welcome, Majeed.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Excited to be here.
So I want to talk about not just your show coming up, but the process, because you know, you were just saying we're getting your show, Unite, here, which I love the title. So let's talk about the title, Unite.
Unite, kind of the word itself, comes from my time at the Southside Community Arts Center. The Southside Community Arts Center, founded in the early 40s, late 30s, as a part of the Works Projects Administration. So that's a really deep history there. It's one of the few art centers that transitioned from the Work Projects Administration Federal Arts Program. And anyway, so I came in as an artist and over time became director and curator of that space. One of the interesting facts about that space, or things about that space, is it has this amazing art collection. And in that art collection are these works by a group named Afro-Cobra, specifically an artist named Barbara Jones Hogu. And they used to utilize, it kind of came out of the 60s as in a moment of kind of empowerment. So it was these really beautiful images that often use colors, or Kool-Aid colors as they called them, as a way of drawing people in, the colors that the people on the streets were wearing at the time. But embedded as part of the design were actually words. And one of the more prominent ones that stuck out to me was this piece called Unite, and this text Unite. And that's always kind of settled in. So in some sort of way, the text itself references, or the name of the show references that time period, but also talks about the political times that we're in right now. And
which mirror.
Right, which pretty much is, the things that were potent then are potent now. And it's a way of kind of exploring text-based protest kind of language, and how that can sometimes be used, whether in propaganda or whether as kind of marketing, and in various ways. So it's a double-edged sword in that way. Sometimes it can really strike and be deep and go into something really depth, or sometimes be very surface. So
tell us about the exhibit we're going to see.
Well, the exhibition is actually going to be, I've been working on this body of work for a little over a year now. This will be the first time I've actually shown it in public. There have been bits and pieces of it, but what you're going to be seeing is actually a massive sculpture installation made up of numerous smaller pieces that are actually residue of the work that I've been working on in my process of making building materials. I'm going to be building a billboard.
You're building a billboard?
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of materials did you use?
Well, I have a background, I'm a sculptor by training, but actually I've been pulling kind of found material, so I've been recycling 2x4s.
Okay.
And shaving them down into smaller pieces, and then staining each one of those smaller pieces with Kool-Aid.
Oh, wow.
And then reassembling them, making large sheets of OSB, or particle board, which is the material you see that you board up windows with.
All right.
And it's kind of a way of talking about my neighborhood and the spaces I see that are boarded up, and kind of the politics of that, but also talking about like institution building through the production of building materials.
Right.
And then kind of painting at the same time, because they look like massive paintings. So I'm trying to collapse these things to make one seamless gesture as a billboard, in the way you think about marketing, all those things that we talk about. So there's a lot of layers and little nuggets of things that you're going to be able to tap into, whether it's just beauty, I think it looks nice, or if you really want to get kind of into the politics of what it is, or a design process. It's a very tedious process. I'm essentially building a painting.
Do you work on it, like a day, a week?
Oh, it's been nonstop. I was offered the show maybe September. I've been working every day since.
Really?
Nonstop. Yeah.
Last September. And where do you work?
I live and work in South Shore,
Okay.
which is in Chicago.
But do you have like a warehouse or is it in your house or?
So I have two spaces. I show my work in Pilsen at a space called Manor Contemporary.
Okay.
And then I work actually in a old convent.
No way.
Yeah, it's kind of a kooky, weird.
Do you have some good spirits come in there?
Yeah, spirits is the word. But it's kind of a condemned convent.
A condemned convent?
It's like no one's in there but me and a security guard and a couple
No
people.
way.
So it's a space that I found and kind of, not converted, but I just kind of work out of that space, and I'm friends with the church community, so they love having me there, and they're my neighbors, so I kind of make it out of that space. And I have a couple of studio assistants that work with me, and it's been really great, kind of really tapping into making in the way that I was trained. Yeah.
That's so exciting. How long have you been teaching?
How long have I been teaching? Officially teaching? Being paid to teach probably since 2010 or so.
So do you feel that when you started teaching that it helped to inform your work or change your work or?
Yeah, a lot of my work actually is very community related. So I have a kind of an engaged practice that really is not only thinking about the object, but how the object actually impacts the communities, organizations, and spaces that I'm invested in. So it's not unusual for me to have lots of people involved in the design of it. It's very responsive and inclusive of a lot of people, because I want not only to make the object, but I want the object to do something impactful. And that's just something I'm constantly, kind of navigating in my work.
What's the piece you're most proud of that you've done?
Ooh, the piece that I'm most proud of, that's a good question. I mean, it shifts. Right now, I'm really excited about this piece.
Good.
I mean, because in some sort of ways, it feels like I'm pulling a lot of things together from the beginnings of being a welder and a sculptor, and then thinking about the history and all the things I learned from the Southside Community Arts Center and the history of Chicago. And then also kind of this more kind of like what I call platform building, of actually like building work that like incorporates other artists to come in. So that one's important because it's very present. But the thing that I'm probably most important is my collective, my Floating Museum collective. And that's something that it's grand, it's large. We floated a 100-foot barge down the Chicago River last summer, and we worked with 40 or so artists, organizations.
That had a lot of press.
It had a lot of press and a lot of momentum. But I'm proud about not so much the doing of the thing, but how we did it and how we're going to continue to do that. So I'm proud, very proud of that, and how it potentially has ripple effects that are going to impact Chicago well into the future. So that's something I'm very proud of, yeah.
Well, it's truly an honor to have you here with us and have your art here. And I think, this is a really important precipice in your career. And I think we've caught you right as you're about ready to trajectory up and away. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Unite will be at the MAC at the Cleve Carney Art Gallery from February 8th through April 7th. Do not miss your opportunity to see this spectacular show. For more information, visit clevecarneygallery.org. The New York Times describes Mummenschanz as the granddaddy of wordless, whimsical nonsense. Come see the U.S. premiere of their show, You and Me, on March 3rd at the MAC and experience the magic. Don't miss the final film in the MAC's National Theater Live series. Yerma screens on March 8th at 7 p.m. Backed by popular demand and selling out fast is the 1940s big band musical review, In the Mood. Get your tickets before they're gone and experience a night of swing-era spectacle on March 10th. Get your tickets for one or more of these great events in person at the Macinich Art Center box office or online at themac.org. Or you can call 630-942-4000.